Commercial Road, and what was running, what did used to be Dorset Street, that building in front of you there, that's very new. It did used to be a car park, and you kind of could see to where Mary Jane Kelly's room was, but obviously now you can't really do it. Yeah, 1888, there was a road called Dorset Street that would literally run up in the middle of that building. Many said it was the roughest street in Britain. The local constabulary wouldn't go down it themselves unless there was four. To give you an idea how rough the street was, there was 7 murders alone. But on Dorset Street, right the way through, was 13 Miller's Court, which was the room Mary Kelly was in. It was like a narrow alley, and then you went in and Mary Jane Kelly's flat was there, and she was 6 weeks behind the rent. Sorry about that. Yeah, on the night of her death, she was heard singing an old Irish song called "Only a Violet I Pluck from My Mother's Grave." She was later seen by a friend on the corner of Thal Street talking to a client. The next morning, obviously after the murder, a guy went round, looked into the room from a little crack in the window, and obviously saw a dissected body. The police were called, they gained access, broke down the door. Police didn't really, they weren't that advanced then. They were thought about getting sniffer dogs on it, but it wasn't really the case. In fact, what they actually did, they took pictures of Mary Kelly's eyes in hope that, it's ludicrous really, but they thought that the last image a dead body would ever see would be the killer, and you know, that's how kind of, they couldn't tell the difference between human blood, pig's blood. No, in the room, it's been said that many police officers slipped over because there was that much blood. No one was prepared. It's probably the worst crime scene, even now, 133 years on. She was unrecognisable. It seemed Jack the Ripper had literally been there all night. He used it like a log fire, and he was just burning Mary Kelly's stuff to obviously give him enough light to see what he was doing. But she'd just been slowly and professionally disemboweled. Her empty carcass was just laid, and all her organs and intestines had just been hung around the room, literally like a Christmas decorations. You know, so he'd had chance to do his ultimate fantasy, and it was the last murder of the canonical 5. But does a murder stop like that? Do serial killers say, nah, I don't fancy doing this anymore, might go get a job in Tesco? Yeah, the only probably reason it stopped was he died. Tuberculosis was quite big in them days, as was syphilis. That kind of, it would kill you. He either moved somewhere else and started killing, or he was put in prison. But yeah, people, you know, it just, serial killers, as you've seen, they don't stop until they're caught. But yeah, this was Dorset Street, right the way through the middle, and to the right was 13 Miller's Court. It's just off Commercial Road. To give you an inkling of how close it was, there's the 10 Bells, which she actually picked Jack the Ripper up from. So that gives you, you know, your Spitalfields market over there. So she's obviously, unfortunately, picked Jack the Ripper up from there, took him back to a room there, and it was the worst mistake she'd ever done. Mary Jane Kelly, that was the, that's as close to the murder scene as you're ever going to get really today. Unless you go in the buildings, of course. But yeah.